Good evening and welcome to Sunday Night Prime. I'm very delighted that you've joined us, not only Catholics, Protestants, Orthodox, Jewish people, Muslims, Buddhists, anybody else. We're at home in this program. And we'd be grateful if you like to get hold of me or write me a letter or questions. Sunday Night Prime, one word, Sunday Night Prime at EWTN.com. EWTN is Eternal Word Television, and this is a wonderful program, a wonderful station on television. Now, our guests this evening are Judy and Jack Cozzens, and we want to welcome you, and they are representing College Connection for Catholics. Now, they're obviously not in college at this time. No,
a little bit past that.
A little bit past. But you are very involved with setting up and keeping going programs for Catholics, primarily in secular colleges or non-Catholic colleges. And I wish you could talk to us about keeping the faith in college.
Right.
How did you get involved in this?
Well, we met another person named, a friend of mine was named Dick Stolley, and he lived in Lima, Ohio. And Dick Stolley, when he was 74 years old, decided that he should do something because Catholic kids were losing their faith. Only 15% of kids, when they go to college, connect with the Catholic campus ministry on the campus. And Dick saw this as a great problem. So at 74, so you're never too old. You're never too old to start something new or to get out and get involved. Dick went out and got this program going. And so he started it to connect high school seniors with the campus ministry where they're going to college. That was the goal of the program, is to sort of be a bridge from the high school to the college campus and keep our young people involved in their faith.
And he has passed on, I believe, right?
Yes, he worked with the program about 6 years, and when he was not feeling well, he called me and said, "Judy, I would like for you to take over this program." And at the time, I was involved in a large auction for a pro-life ministry, and I said, well, as soon as the auction's done, I'm going to pray about it through this time and I'll call you back. And when the auction was over, Dick had had a stroke and he never spoke again. And I didn't get to talk to him, but Jack said to me, "I think you got the message. You're supposed to do this." And so that's how we got involved, chairing College Connection for Catholics.
College Connection for Catholics.
Right.
And if you get on www, one word, collegeconnectionforcatholics.org, you will get a nice brochure. Isn't that?
Exactly.
Now, Jack, how did you get involved in this?
Judy and I kind of have an agreement. We each have a major organization that we worked for, and when we're not working for one, we're working for the other. So,
tell me the organization.
I've been on the board of directors of Net Ministries for 15 years, and every fall we go to training camp, and Net brings in, well, it used to be about 100 young people between the ages of 18 and 28. But last year we had 122, and I understand this year we're going to have over 130. So the idea is we train these young people for 5 weeks, and then we break them up into teams, and some of them we send off to work in a parish for a year. There's one that we send off that works just in one high school for a year, and the rest get into vans and travel all over the country giving retreats for Catholic high school and junior high
wonderful.
students.
Isn't that a wonderful thing?
Oh, it is.
Going all over the country.
It works very well.
Well, now let me ask you this. What part of the country are you centered on?
Well, right now, we spend our summers in Minnesota. And it seems that most of our Catholic friends live in Minnesota. We have a winter home. We go south for the winter. But people are very surprised to find out we go to Colorado instead of Arizona.
You go to Colorado for the winter?
Yes.
You're a masochist.
Yeah.
Well, now, this is very interesting because many of our audience, like you and myself, are older people. You're interested in your children or your grandchildren in college. Great many of our listeners are concerned about their grandchildren or their nieces and nephews. College connection for Catholics. And again, I say www, one word, collegeconnectionforcatholics.org.
Right.
What would you do with that?
We actually, what we did with the program when we got it from Dick Stolley's, we decided it had to be on the internet because we had to reach out and do lots of colleges. So at that time, and Jack was the one pushed to, and he knows more about computers and websites and stuff than I do, and he said, we need a website. We need to have this up so that we can service a lot of different schools.
There are over 1 million Catholic high school graduates that go to college every year.
1 million.
1 million of them. And as we have a friend who is a minister at Colorado University in Boulder, and he said every year 1,000 Catholics come to campus out of the 10,000 new freshmen that come. And I have no idea which 1,000 are Catholics.
And because of the privacy policy that our government set up, our colleges, 99% of our colleges today are not identifying any student by religion. So therefore, a campus ministry of any faith doesn't find out what the kids are coming to campus. So that's what we try to do. We try to get the names of Catholic kids going to 1,700 different schools across our nation right now. Some of them might be beauty colleges, trade schools, colleges. If we find out where a kid is going to college, we will try to find some type of Catholic connection for them. Sometimes, like if you look at the University of Nebraska in Lincoln, a half a block away is a beauty school, and 2 more blocks this way you have a business school and community college, and so you can get all those kids are invited to come to the Newman Center at the University of Nebraska, so we invite them there. So we try to connect any kid that's going to college. But I think that as grandparents, we just have to reach out there and start to do something to actually be more active in our church and in our faith. And Jack and I always joke about the fact that we are trying to fill our bus with college kids or with young people. And when we get to heaven, our bus will be full. And Jack has a little story to tell you about our bus story.
Well, it was told to me by a friend of our, Deacon Tom Winninger. And he said he had a dream the night before he was ordained a deacon. And the dream was that he arrived at heaven driving a bus. and he saw Jesus there ready to greet him. So he stopped the bus, got out, ran up and fell down, and Jesus picked him up and he said, "Welcome to heaven, Thomas. But how come you're the only one on the bus? Where are the rest of the people on your bus?" And so Deacon Tom said, I got the message. I'm supposed to fill up my bus before I go to heaven. And we thought that was a really good idea.
Yes. Well, God knows. And I think when students are going off to high school, from high school, leaving home, leaving their hometown or where they live, their home parish in a big city, for a moment they're kind of disoriented. And particularly if they go to a secular university or a secularized so-called Catholic university. I complain about that all the time, the secularized Catholic university. I've been a member of the board over the years of Ave Maria University and of Steubenville, St. Franciscan University. That's for real. But I must say, and I'm not generally an optimist, I pick up indication along the line that the powers that be in many so-called Catholic colleges and universities are moving in the right direction. That's good.
Good things are happening in a lot of places. For example, Benedictine College in Atchison, Kansas is where two of our children graduated from there, and it's just a wonderful place.
Yes,
we have Belmont Abbey, and you know, it's interesting, every now and then you have wonderful, wonderful things happening in our public school campuses. The University of South Dakota in Vermillion. Okay, here we have a public school. We have a wonderful priest named Father Scott Trainer, and he has had 4 people go to the seminary in the last 4 years that he's been on campus.
That wonderful?
He's had 4 missionaries go to Focus, which is the Fellowship of Catholic University Students. We joke about Texas A&M. Texas A&M, we say, is the cheapest Catholic school in the nation. 10,000 kids attend Mass at Texas A&M every weekend.
Isn't that marvelous? 10,000.
Yes.
Right.
It's just on fire. And so there's so many of those out there. But if the kid arrives on campus and he doesn't find the campus ministry, for example, let me give you an example. Kansas University is in St. Lawrence, Kansas, KU. And KU is University of Kansas, I should say, in KU. But in St. Lawrence, they have a beautiful program for a Newman Center, a beautiful Catholic parish there right on campus. A couple years ago, some of the kids that were in the campus ministry program went out and talked to other Catholic kids on campus. Now, there's over 30,000 people. A lot of them did not even know there was a Catholic campus ministry on campus. And so if we can get to that kid when they're graduating from high school and let them know, then they will know it's there. And even if they don't go right away, if they ever get in trouble or they need help, they know that program is there for them. It's just so important.
Well, one of the reasons on this program that a good many of the people who watch this program are adults, parents, and grandparents, and even a couple of great-grandparents. And they're watching the program. And listen, folks, we're talking to you, and we want to see you working on this.
Right.
There aren't too many young college students watching a program on Sunday night. You know, at 7 o'clock or earlier than that across the country. No. But this is for parents, uncles, aunts, grandparents. Listen and make up your mind to talk to the students in your family about what is available. Because most colleges, universities do have a Newman or a university campus ministry and get it be known.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and they're the ones that can help us make the connection. Because if we don't know your grandkid is out there, how are we going to connect them to the campus ministry where they're going to college? So that's so important.
And we're going to show them on this program in just a few minutes exactly how they can connect their grandkid to the college minister.
Get your pencil and paper because we're going to give you some directions. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. Now, what we need to tell us what should people do about the college connection for Catholics. And this is very, very good because it's parents and grandparents and other people in the family telling the students what to do. Let's hear about it.
All right, Father. You've mentioned the name of the website is www.collegeconnectionforcatholics.org. And if you go to your computer, get on the internet, put those words into a search engine, when you click on College Connection, you'll see this display. And our website is very informative. You can do a lot of things with it. Many people only want to get on and put their grandson or granddaughter in so that the grandson or granddaughter will get the information sheet, and also we'll be sending their name to the campus minister on the campus where they're attending. So by going to our website, you see up at the top there's a black line, and the first writing there says Get Connected. And so if you run the cursor over that Get Connected, a menu drops down, and it asks whether you are a member of SARA, or are you a high school or a parish, or do you just want to add a student? So if you're only interested in adding your grandchild, you can just click on Add a Student, and then you'll get a standard form that asks for their first and last name, their address. We ask for that for two reasons. We're going to send them a letter if you want a letter sent. Otherwise, you can print out the letter yourself and hand it to them. It works very well if you do this in April, and that way you will get the letter and you can put it in their graduation card.
With a little note from their grandma or grandpa saying how
Right.
important their faith is to them.
So you can see the form here. It's not complicated at all, but we do have some security down at the bottom. And it's a standard method of maintaining website security. Once you have entered that in, the website will produce a letter and an information sheet, a whole page, about the campus minister on the campus that you have selected.
Particular one.
Exactly.
So your kid's going to New York University. It'll say, Dear John, congratulations on your selection of New York University, and then have a page of information about the campus ministry at New York University.
The only problem we ever have is some people say, well, my grandchild is going to Penn State University, and they don't bother to put in the city. We know that the state is Pennsylvania, but there are 34 different campuses of Penn State University. And each one of them has their own campus ministry. So
you have to find out the name of the college and then the location of the college.
right. So once they put that in, they will be sent an email that has what we call a link on it, and they can just click on the link and they'll see their packet, and they can instruct us to mail it. We'll mail it out for $1, or they can print it out themselves and mail it or hand it to the child, do anything they want to. So, but the bottom line is we capture the name and address and give it to the campus minister. Then the campus minister is able to get in touch with this boy or girl that's going to college and invite them to some kind of a function on campus, sometimes even before school starts. During orientation week, the campus ministry will have a welcoming party. It's very important to get there early.
Yeah, they show that statistics say that the kids are going to join the organizations they're going to belong to in college in the first 4 to 5 weeks. But if we talk to campus ministers, they tell us if they don't get to the kid in the first week, they may never see them again.
Is that a fact?
So if they don't know who the kid is, how do they get to them? So that's why it's so important. You can't let your kid go off and just hope that they might find something. We got to help make that connection for our young people. And so that's what we really work on.
Now I wonder, parents listening or parent surrogates listening, and their child goes off to a college, secular college, how can they find out, apart asking the youngster, can they just get into, call the main number of the college, which is in the telephone book, and then ask to connect me with the Catholic chaplain or the religious program, and that get right that way?
They can actually go on our website.
All right, tell me again.
If they go on our website, we have a line that says find college. They can enter in the name of the college and the city and state.
Isn't that wonderful?
And our information sheet shows the name of the campus minister, his telephone number, and his email address.
And the website about that campus ministry. So we're encouraging parents and parents when they're selecting a college should be looking at our website to find out what there is there for their young person.
Mm-hmm. Now give me again the address of your...
Yes, it's www.collegeconnectionforcatholics.org.
Okay, and I wish they could put that up on the screen. Say it again.
www.collegeconnectionforcatholics.org.
That would be very, very wonderful to do that. Mm-hmm. And parents and grandparents and uncles and aunts could do this.
Well, and don't go to a graduation party. For anybody's high school graduation, if it's a Catholic young person, for heaven's sakes, go to the website and do this. Print out that packet, you get it through your own email, stick it in your graduation card, throw in a check. Every kid likes a little money, but that little packet may save their soul. Let me tell you the story about one young lady. She had gone off to college, and she was already at college, and it was a Sunday night. She was sitting in her dorm with nothing to do, and she was by herself, and she said, "Oh, my mother stuck that packet in my suitcase that I got from the College Connection people." She said she had no idea that she would ever use that packet because she wasn't going to go to church anymore. She'd given up on it. But she was bored, and she said, "Well, maybe I'll just go to church tonight." And she got out that packet. She went to the last chance Mass at 9:30 p.m. on a Sunday night, and she became active in her Catholic faith. Now, she wrote to me the year after that, and she just wrote to thank me for for doing College Connection for Catholics and for being involved, because she said it saved her faith. And she's a cantor now at Mass, and she's very active in campus ministry, and she's found focus in her life. You know, she's looking ahead.
What this is called grace.
Yes.
And the call of grace, it knocks on the door.
Well, and when that letter arrives, you know, that nice envelope with the picture of the kids on it, when it arrives at the home for the young person, it gives the parents and the student a chance to talk about it and to talk about faith. So that's important too. So that really does help. But
well, here's something else to think about. Sad to say, in the United States, 30% of people go regularly to their services, Mass, Protestant services, Jewish services, Muslim services. 30%. Does another 30% go occasionally? Christmas, Easter, Palm Sunday, 4th of July, okay. And there's a 30%, if you ask them, they'll tell you, I'm a Catholic, I'm a Protestant, I'm a Jew. But they never go, you know.
That's right.
They're never there. Then there's this, about 6 or 7% are agnostics. Now, the agnostics, some of them mean, I'm trying to figure it out. There's a number of great Catholics who were once agnostics.
right.
They're trying to figure their way. And then there are a very small percentage of atheists. And now atheists are very interesting people because they have an act of faith. It's a faith that there is no God. They can't go up in the sky and pull the sky aside. Look, you're not there. Atheism is a form of belief in no God. And a number of atheists in the literature have become believers and even priests. And I've known priests who were once atheists. And how does this happen? The Holy Spirit.
Right.
You know, I was sitting at Columbia while I was a student, dressed in a Roman collar and a black suit in the back seat. And one of the speakers was talking about religion. And this one student said something very vicious against religion, and particularly against Christianity and the church. And the professor was an old Jewish woman from Russia, professor of psychotherapy, bright, on the ball. I enjoyed her classes. And she came out and she says, I want you to know that I have the greatest respect for the Roman Catholic Church. Roman Catholic, because they have confession. And it'd do everybody else, the Protestants and Jews, a lot of good if they went to confession too. They wouldn't waste so much money on unnecessary psychotherapy. She really gave it to them. And it's interesting when you're around and you live quietly and listen when people speak, perhaps bitterly, of unbelief or atheism or against a particular religion. You listen and you remain calm and you get your way through it.
You know, as a grandparent too, I think sometimes we miss some of those little opportunities when you talk about confession. You know, we're going to go out for ice cream cones on Saturday afternoon. Let's stop by and go to confession together. And let them see Grandma and Papa go to confession. And they can go to confession if they're old enough, and if they're not old enough, they can watch you go to confession. And then you go out for ice cream. You make it an outing, but you talk about it. And I think we as grandparents have to be more involved in taking and doing little things to pass on that faith to our grandchildren.
Now we're going to have our second break here, and I'm going to ask you, Jack, to, if you will, we made an arrangement beforehand, if you're going to move off on the side, and we're going to put Brother Simon Dankoski, one of our brothers, who has gone through this whole thing. And Brother Simon is a very fine young man. His dad is a deacon and at Steubenville at the university. So we will be doing that. But Jack, again, thank you very much and joining in with us.
Thank you, Father.
God bless.
It's been a pleasure.
All right. And we're just a little bit ahead. Our audience is largely older people, and particularly grandparents, aunts, and uncles. Folks, be praying for the kids. And if you don't have any in your family, pray for others as well.
Yes.
Pray.
So important.
We'll be back in a minute. Well, we're back from our break, and I asked Brother Simon to come up and join us here. I mentioned him to you before. His name is Brother Simon Dankoski, and welcome, Brother Simon.
Thank you, Father. It's good to join you here.
He's a Steubenville graduate, right?
Graduated in 1998.
And how many years in the community?
12. I joined in the Jubilee year, 2000, joined the community, serving in the Bronx, living right near our homeless shelter in the Bronx.
And then at the present?
At the present, I live at St. Felix Friary, named after St. Felix of Cantalice, here in Yonkers, New York, right close to the seminary here.
And you're in the seminary?
I'm in the philosophy program, philosophy and Latin, and then next year I'll begin the theology here at St. Joseph's, God willing. And
like a number of brothers in our community who are not studying to be priests came around to the idea of becoming a priest. And we don't push anybody to do that. We have brothers, or we sometimes call lay brothers, and in our community, the Capuchins that we come from, most of the saints are lay brothers. And the first saint was a simple, interesting, colorful soul, Saint Felix of Cantalice, who walked all over Rome and told various cardinals and bishops get their act together. You know, Pope John Paul was very anxious about getting recognition for Saint Felix, because he used to tell people, the cardinals off. Now, we're going to be looking further into the life of faith on the campus. And I met you when you were a student at San Franciscan University. And many of the people listening, their family or they themselves went to secular university. How is that experience bring to faith?
I think exactly what Jack and Judy were sharing during the program. At Franciscan University, it's an environment of faith, so that faith was able to be cultivated and encouraged by other students. And so I think it's a very strong part of just progressing in the faith, taking the next steps at faith when you're 18, 19, 20 years old, is having that good environment, good friends, and like that positive peer pressure to make the next good steps, because human nature and just the opportunities on college campus, away from home, away from family, it's very, just easy to go the wrong way really quick, like you're saying, the very first week. But by being plugged in with a faith environment, that seed of faith can grow. So I had a very positive experience at Steubenville, just through many activities and opportunities and friendships through the gift of that Catholic faith.
A number of our students in our community, friars, and I guess even some sisters, went to Steubenville, right?
I think maybe 15 friars, priests, and brothers went to Steubenville.
Out of 130. Now, here's an interesting question. I also went to Columbia, and as a priest already, I was a graduate student. And I was impressed by the campus ministry and the number of people who participated at that time in the university life of the church. And there were a couple of churches right nearby which were popular for students. But it was very interesting. I noticed that the professors largely showed respect for a priest. They never caused me the slightest bit of difficulty. They were one tough old lady who was from Russia, a Jewish professor, Judith. She defended me and the church magnificently in class, you know. And the rabbi and I in the back, we were going to stand up and clap. We had, in the middle of a very secular environment, a person can be a witness to faith.
But then in the next breath, I will say that today I do not believe on the college campuses that the professors are as friendly to the Catholics on campus. In fact, I've had, when you go into the websites, so like we visit the 1,700 websites to prepare our campus ministry pages, one Catholic priest on his website for his campus ministry said, "I'm teaching my students to be warriors and how to defend their faith in the classrooms on this campus. Come here and learn how to defend your faith." And so
isn't that interesting?
Today's world, I don't think, is also friendly. So I think we need to think about that and give our kids some support.
Now, it's interesting, that made different parts of the country. I'm talking about New York. When I was a little boy, I could look out the window and see the Statue of Liberty right out the window.
Right.
In New York, people, a true New Yorker, has respect for the other side.
Right.
That would be very, very gauche for a New Yorker to be doing that. It might go someplace else, but come on, cut it out. Get lost.
Father, one thing comes to mind as we're speaking. We're both religious. You're a priest and I'm a brother. We're not going to be on the college campuses where this program's promoting and everything, but the college students who are there. I have one friend who's a college student, and they were wearing a Catholic T-shirt, and some boys saw this young lady, and they wanted to meet her, but also they saw the Catholic T-shirt. So it worked in a double way. My encouragement for college students, especially college students who are Catholic, to wear something, some article of faith, maybe a cross or a religious medal, or maybe something Catholic on their shirt or something, because it allows them to give that witness.
Witness, sure.
And you did this for our community a number of years ago. You told a funny story, and maybe you want to recount it now, how they don't expect to see young religious with a beard and a habit in the airport. So you did something for us with backpacks. You had backpacks made up for all of us
Oh, yeah.
with our name, Franciscan Friars of the Renewal, Roman Catholic Community. So he encouraged all of us to have backpacks on as we went through the airport, and it works. I use it. We go all over the country with Youth 2000s and other retreats, and you put something like that on and someone sees that, you know, so.
Does anybody ever say anything hostile?
Looks, you know, kind of, maybe people might look kind of like curious.
Curious, that's different.
Curious, but you know exactly where they stand, you know, by a look. It could be even a look of disapproval, but nothing said specifically, you know. But mostly, people come up and thank me for wearing the habit, ask me if I'm a priest, or just talk. So they're willing and open, and it's a blessing to be a religious.
It's interesting in the United States, too. Secular country. It never had an established church. And I would say that public religion, not just friars, but Orthodox rabbis, Orthodox, Eastern Rite Orthodox, rather obvious. I would not expect people to give us any trouble at all. In France, you would get a few looks, and it was interesting because about 10 or 15% of the French are devout, and you go to the cathedrals or to Montmartre, but the rest had a history going back to the French Revolution of against religion. But it's interesting. The popes, you know, we've had very popular popes, very impressive popes for 75, 80 years, one right after the other. And John the 23rd, John Paul, the popes, the present Pope Benedict, Pope John Paul. These popes have opened many doors to people because they would be shown with great respect.
You know, Pope Benedict recently was talking about grandparents too. And he was telling us as grandparents, we need to get involved and be active in passing on the faith in our family. He said that the grandparents the words he sort of used was instill the virtues into their grandchildren and help them keep the faith. So I just thought that was interesting when you mentioned the popes, that Pope Benedict recently was trying to encourage us senior citizens to get off our duff and get involved.
Well, you know, also in the past, grandparents were shown in real respect. Pope Benedict growing up in Bavaria in basically a great agricultural part of the world. Grandparents were held with great respect, and they kept things going together.
I think even with vocations, I don't know, did your grandparents encourage you in your vocation?
Oh yeah, my mother came from a devout family, and she was the oldest of 7, and my grandmother was very devout, very encouraging, and it was, I mean, I would just like to say just the thank you to all grandparents for their prayers. You meet so many as a young religious or even as a young Catholic. If you go to Mass, go to daily Mass, go to adoration, you'll see many older Catholics, grandparents, grandmothers especially, who are there praying, interceding. So it's a fruit of their prayers and their faithfulness, and just very grateful.
I'm thankful that my papa in our family goes to Mass with me every day.
Every day. How old is he?
Well, Jack.
Oh,
I was
Jack.
referring to Jack.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
he's our papa. And he's 74 years old, and he's still kicking and still working for the church. So get out there and get to work.
He's quite young, 74. Yeah.
Father Benedict, I wanted to say I met Jack and Judy Cozzens after Steubenville. I volunteered with the group that Mr. Cozzens is a part of Net Ministries.
Net Ministry, yes.
And I think it's important because sometimes you're not, there's fear factors in college. What are you going to do? You're not sure what you're going to do. For myself, I wasn't sure to join the friars or what to do. I think I had a call, a vocation to religious life, the priesthood then. Mm-hmm. So I joined Net Ministries and worked in St. Paul, Minnesota for 2 years.
Right.
And that's when I met Jack and Judy, and just their enthusiasm for the faith. And they're like grandparents to all the young adults who are there with Net Ministries.
Could you tell our audience what NET means?
NET means National Evangelization Team, N-E-T.
N-E-T.
And it's exactly what Jack was describing earlier. 120 young adults after college, volunteering for the year, and they trained in their Catholic faith. Mm-hmm. And
what do they do?
And then once they're trained in the faith, they get split up into teams of 12 usually, like the 12 apostles, and then they're sent out by diocese. So for that,
doing what?
Giving high school retreats to junior high
I see.
and high school students. So like our team of 12, 6 men, 6 women, traveled in a van, had a suitcase, a backpack, and a sleeping bag. We slept on gym floors, we traveled all throughout the country. We went to 6 dioceses, and it was a 9-month commitment. So.
That sounds wonderful, folks, and that really very impressive. And I want our audience to hear this, and because people don't always hear the good things.
Yeah.
They hear the bad things.
Yeah. And that's where a lot of our vocations are coming from, our programs like that. Focus Fellowship of Catholic University Students is now putting missionaries out on the college campuses, as St. Paul's Outreach does. And so those are organizations that we also pass our names on to when they're from College Connection for Catholics and Net Ministries. But those kids who serve as a lay missionary then often think about how, find joy in that. And our own son found joy in serving, and it was a beautiful story. I'd like to tell you a crazy story.
Tell me a crazy story.
It's not too crazy, really, but when I was pregnant, expecting our second child, I was in the 5th month, and I was teaching half days at the Catholic school. And I remember being in my classroom and looking up at the clock, and I had I thought maybe I had the stomach flu. I had a pain, and I thought, oh, I hope I didn't catch the flu. And about 5 minutes later, I had another pain, and a few minutes later, another pain. I realized I was in labor. And so I immediately called my husband, and I headed for the hospital because I certainly didn't want to have this baby at 5 months. And I spent the night in the hospital, and the next morning when the doctor came in to visit me, he said to me, you know, you are carrying a freak. I'll never forget his words. And I'm 5 months pregnant. He said, you need to either get up and lose this baby or we'll take care of it. I don't think you should have this baby. And I said, my husband had already gone back to work that day, and I was hoping to get out of the hospital. And I remember saying to him, my husband and I are going to have this baby. This is our baby. Whatever God sent us, we will have and love.
He used the word freak?
A freak to me. I remember that. And then he said, it's a deformed fetus, and I will not continue with the pregnancy. He will not. I won't be your doctor. And I said, fine, we'll find another doctor. And we did. We found a 72-year-old man who he said might take my pregnancy, and he did. And when he came in and talked to me, he said, it's going to be okay. And he assured me everything would be okay. And for the next 3 months, I laid in bed and I prayed, and that baby came a month early. And there was a crazy thing that happened too. The doctor said, how much money does your insurance pay? And I said, $350. And he said, oh, I charge $1,500, but don't worry. The other doctor who had refused the pregnancy, he said, I'm going to make a bet with him and he'll pay for this if the baby is okay. So what he did, he went ahead, and that baby, when the baby was born, he called that other doctor, told him to pay up his $1,500 because our little baby was born and he had eczema all over his body. But today, that baby is a Catholic priest. His name is Father Andrew Cozzens, and he teaches at the seminary in St. Paul, Minnesota. So I want to encourage any of you to
Isn't that a magnificent story? You told me before, and I had tears in my eyes as you were telling me. Yes. How many years is he a priest now?
15 years.
Isn't that wonderful? And he's professor at the seminary in St. Paul,
Right.
Minnesota. Yes. Isn't that beautiful?
The gift of life.
Right. We also need to mention to you that if you could go to College Connection for Catholics, you could take and download an Excel form or enrollment form for a whole high school there. You know, you don't have to be a Sarin. You know, this program was started with the USA Council of Sarah International. You don't have to be a Sarin or anything special. You can find the graduates, the kids that are graduating from high school in your parish, put it on this Excel form you'd find on the website, and then we'll help you upload that form into our website and get those kids connected to college.
What do you do? Put down?
www.collegeconnectionforcatholics.org, all one word, and you find that Excel form, fill it with those kids' names, and upload it to our website, and we're there.
And I should mention to you this word Sarah. Some of you from California know exactly what that means. That's Father Junipero Serra was a Franciscan missionary out very early in California. Thank you so very, very much, Judy.
Thank you.
And brothers, thank you for joining us.
It's a joy.
And we're going to say a little final prayer. O Lord, in your goodness and mercy, we ask you today to bless all expectant mothers and their children.
Yes.
And fill them with hope and faith. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Brother, you wanted to mention, why don't you mention this?
Well, just really quick. The Franciscan brothers, we go on a walking pilgrimage every summer from in August. This year it's August 9th to 12th. And if anyone's interested in joining us, we'll be walking to the shrine at Doylestown, Pennsylvania. It's just a good witness of faith. About 2,000 people walking, singing, praying.
And how do they get hold of you?
It's all there on the website, and it's already on the screen.
It's on the screen. And as always, we need to put out a little appeal to support the program, support EWTN, and support my dear old friend, Mother Angelica. So send in those envelopes, please. God bless.